Thank you for your interest in the Retained Recruiter show powered by iIntro. Before the show starts, I have a small favour to ask of you. Our goal is to provide you with the most insightful, helpful and practical recruitment knowledge and know-how from the best in the recruitment industry. If you like this channel and enjoy watching our content, hit the subscribe button to get notified as soon as we upload a new episode. Thank you again, and as ever, we're rooting for your success. Now, time for the show.
Hello and welcome to the Christmas edition of the Retained Recruiter Show. My name is James.
And my name is Jo. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We've got one of our favourite guests here today. So welcome, Jem.
Hi. Oh, sorry, that were really squeaky.
Well,
you said you had a croaky voice, but we need to get through 45 minutes of this. So yeah.
We got croaky and squeaky. I think, and I'm a bit nasal as well. I think as we run into this start of winter, we're picking up all those bugs. So apologies if we sound a little bit different than normal. But yeah, we're delighted to be joined by Jem again. Jem is one of our favourite guests who's shared some amazing insights with people who've listened to our shows. She runs a business called Social Gems. If you're not connected with her, where have you been? If you're not connected with her, connect with her. Go and look her up, because she does deliver some wonderful gems. And I hope you've got your notepads ready today, to take some notes, because we're going to share our thoughts and views on sort of wrapping up 24, but more importantly, looking at 2025. So that's where we're going to go through. And if through this you want to sort of have a meeting with Jem at some point, because she'd love to have a chat with you, then there's a link at the top of the screen to book on her calendar appointment section. So yeah, without further ado, Jem, welcome in. Jo's going to kick off with our first question.
Yes. So do you know what? I think we've got loads of questions. What I also want to do, please, if you are listening and you have any questions, everything today is going to be around LinkedIn predominantly. We're going to talk about what's happened in 2024. We're going to then talk about what's going to happen in 2025. I think there's quite a few changes and things coming. So if any of you do have any questions or comments as we go through, please do put them in the chat, and we'll be keeping our eyeball on that as we go through. So first question, Jem, how has 2024 been for you personally, but also as an industry, do you think?
To be fair, we've actually had a pretty good year. It's our biggest year yet. It's year 5. But to be honest, for us, it's all been about sustainable growth rather than just growth, because I've got a habit of burning myself out and trying to do way too much. Mm-hmm. In terms of social, there's been quite a lot of changes. So one of the main ones that we've seen is a massive increase in AI generated content. Yeah. We've actually got stats around that is 75% of marketers are now utilizing AI to start generating content.
Wow.
Now, it's great that we're seeing more content being generated and being published across LinkedIn from multiple companies. However, what a lot of people are forgetting and not realizing is AI is just a tool. It's always going to miss that personal and that sorry, I got distracted by your little thing that went in. It's that personal element and that people-y like part of it isn't there, and you need to add your own personality, your own colloquialisms. How you actually speak is how effectively you want to be writing. So AI can help with that, but you still need to do a little bit more of that. The other two changes that we've massively seen is networking and on the platforms now more important than ever. Mm-hmm. So obviously engaging and networking and commenting and liking on things that are being shared by your ideal target market's always been important, but now it's more important than ever. So you'll have noticed that if you're not actively online before that post is published, when that post has just gone out and responding to those comments straight away, your post's not getting any traction. Mm-hmm. And that's because you're not responding to it straight away. LinkedIn's saying, well, do you know what? You're not an active user, so we're not going to push it out to another a larger audience because you're not getting back to people. So what's the point? Because effectively they do want people to network. They want you to talk. They want you to be on there collaborating, getting to know each other. And if you're just posting and effectively ghosting, you're now going to get penalized for that. So that engagement piece is more important than ever.
I think that's a really important tip, Jen. I just want to re-emphasize it, because I think a lot of us mistakenly think, oh, I put a post up and forget it. And what do you call it? Post and ghost. Yeah, what a great term.
I
I think on that one, and I just hands up. I think I'm probably guilty of that, and I know that some of the tips that you gave our team here at iIntro this year in terms of that personalization, speaking in a voice that is you, not someone else. I think there's some really wonderful, insightful pieces that people can take away from that. So carry on. Sorry, didn't mean to cut across you. Post and ghost,
I think as well, you've got to think like if you're utilizing AI to create your content and it sounds like you've swallowed a thesaurus, but in person you're like me, like I'm just a typical Yorkshire girl. I don't use like large words because I don't understand. But if you then talk like that in person and they're used to seeing this, there's a disconnect. So that rapport that you've actually built with someone's, it's gone straight away because people feel like they've been cheated and you're lying to them because you're not who you say you are online.
Yeah.
So it can actually be like bad for your brand.
I suppose the converse is true as well, isn't it? If you try and be too something you're not, the other way around as well. So
it's like when people automatically assume that in order to get noticed online, you've got to share every trauma that you've ever been through in life. Like anyone that follows me will know that I very rarely, if ever, over the last couple of years, I'd say, mention anything about my background. I'm adopted. My real parents tried to kill me at birth. I had bulimia for years, but I don't talk about that because I don't talk about it that often in my everyday life. And sometimes those conversations can make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Some days I'm completely fine with it and I can talk to people about it. And then those days I'll post about it. Other days, like nearer Christmas, when it's near my birthday and things like that, topics like that I struggle with. So I avoid. So again, you don't have to share everything and anything just to be noticed online. It needs to be what you'd share in person at a networking event, in a meeting. And like the majority of people that are going to be watching this are going to be recruiters, business development individuals. You all know that when you go out and actually meet people in person, say you've got a meeting booked in and it's for an hour, I'd say about 15, 20 minutes max of that conversation is going to be about work. It's going to be what you've been up to, how's business, how's your life, how's the kids, what's going on, what's new with you, when's your holiday, what are you doing for Christmas? Because that's how you build rapport and that's how you build the relationships with people. So that's what your online presence effectively needs to be. And that's why we talk about adding that personality, adding that mix of content. So it's not just talking about business all the time, because you don't talk about business all the time in business anyway.
Yeah.
But is it? Do people go too far though and share too much on LinkedIn? I know LinkedIn isn't Facebook, from that side of things, or Insta or whichever channel, TikTok and all that other stuff that young people do. But sometimes I think it's about getting that balance about what you share online, isn't it? You just said, hey, don't share all this stuff about my personal life, but some people do, and I think is it too much?
See, for me, it's whatever you're comfortable with. If that's what you'd share, that's what people relate to you in real life on anyway. So share it because that's who you are, and they're the things that matter to you, and they're the topics and conversations that you'd have with people naturally. But if you wouldn't, don't do it. So it is literally just, I don't actually think you can go too far, just in terms of there's always going to be an audience for whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
If that makes sense. But it is just what you're comfortable with. And I think in business, you'll find it varies on the age of the director most of the time in terms of what they're willing to share. But that's all because of how we've been brought up. Like historically, it was always, you're British, so you've got that stiff upper lip mentality. And we don't talk about the stuff that we're going through. So quite a lot of people will have that drilled into them. I know even me, like I turned 36 last week, and we were always told that you worked in corporate, so you needed to be a business professional. I've lost count of how many times when I worked in the corporate world that I got in trouble off one of my bosses for saying something like, hey chick, or thanks babes in an email. But that's how I am, and that's
who you are.
People liked working with me, and it was trying to get people to understand that although it is business, we're all still people, and there's still people out there that are still learning that. But again, I do genuinely think when we adapt to it, depends a hell of a lot on when we came into the corporate world.
Yeah. I suppose with me being a lot older than the two of you, you know, I'm more of that earlier ilk. You know, I don't find, and that's probably my question came out from you know, personal. I don't like to share a lot of my private stuff on LinkedIn or anything else for that matter. But there we go. Anyway, let's.
So, like, when you ever went out to meetings,
yeah.
or did anything like that, so it's out of your comfort zone. You can do it. And if like when you've built relationships with clients and stuff and you do share a little bit of that, then put a little bit in. But I think when we talk about being a little bit more personal, people automatically assume that they need to say everything about their home life, everything about every single traumatic thing that's ever happened in their life, every success, every failure, and they don't. They need to talk about what they're comfortable talking about. And it does genuinely need to be true to you.
Yeah, I've got a question. We'll get on to, you know, what we're looking at
before we go to that one. Can I just this is really good for me as well, may I add? I remembered I didn't do the third one from 2024.
I was going to come back to the third one. Yeah, do the third one now then.
So that's video. So video's always been important on LinkedIn. Everyone likes video. It's a really easy way of people seeing who you are. It's a quick and effective way of building rapport, showcasing knowledge. It's always been a good form of content. However, it's being pushed more and more on LinkedIn. So you'll notice now that when you log in on your computer or where you log in on your mobile phone, on your computer, you'll see that you've got your standard news feed running down, and then you've actually now got a little video feed running this way across it. So video is being pushed more and more. On your app, you'll notice at the bottom that there's actually a little icon for the video section now. So you can actually just scroll through videos if you want to do that rather than scrolling through your news feed. So
I didn't notice that. I just had a look that. You're right.
Pushed more now than ever. So it's definitely something people need to be utilizing now and into 2025.
Yeah. So the question I was going to ask actually, we can wrap it in with that because that's really interesting. So over the last year, have you seen when people are using LinkedIn change? So with the introduction of videos, that's very much like Insta or TikTok or video reels on Facebook. So it is becoming more of an entertainment platform as well as maybe one for business. So do you think, change when people are using it? Are we using it more maybe in the evenings now?
So people tended to use it in an evening anyway. So you tend to find that the majority of people log on between 7 and 9 o'clock in the morning when they get up, when they're commuting, when they just get to the desk. Then we'll see. It also depends on your sector too, to be fair.
Yeah.
So you've got to think, like, when do you scroll? You'll have a bit of a look in the morning when you've just got up and you're having your cup of tea and you're coming around. Then when you get to work, you'll have another bit of a scroll. So those timings will depend on what time your sector starts. So if it's, I don't know, teachers as an example, they need to be in for like 8 o'clock. So they're more likely to scroll that little bit earlier. But someone that works in business development, for example, are probably more likely to start at 9 o'clock. So their scrolling will start from probably around 7 o'clock as well, but then they'll be online till about 10:30.
Yeah.
Then you've got, depending on what their job is, it'll depend on how much they're online. So like a HR person's probably more likely to actually look at things on their dinner breaks because it's not actually part of their role to be active on LinkedIn. And at the end of the day and before they start work, but someone like a recruiter is going to be on there all day.
Yeah. Yeah. What about kind of like evenings and weekends? So sort of 7 o'clock onwards on an evening and then maybe weekends as well.
Yeah. So weekends tend to do quite well just because there's less content being published. So quite a lot of people will post Monday to Friday. I'm one of those people. I used to post on a weekend, but after I've been visible, like actively visible now for like over 10 years. And now when it gets to a Friday, my head is just static. So I actually need a break from it. So there is less traffic, but because there's less content that you're competing against, you are getting pushed out to more people.
Right. Okay, that's good. So we're about to enter a new year. The market, I think, James is, you know, kind of looking a bit more favourable, more positive. I know more people are more positive about it. So what should we be looking for or looking out for with social media marketing in 2025?
So 2025, one of the most important things is going to be that personality piece. It is your biggest unique selling point. There is so many people still not doing it, and it is what people are craving. So we're actually seeing the likes of like companies like Curry's now giving the people in store actually phones so they can record little bits, and that stuff's being published on their social media, because that's the type of stuff everybody wants to see. And it's not just from your small, medium, independent businesses. It's from everyone. They're wanting to actually buy into the individuals. So you need to be, in order to stand out next year, you need to be utilizing the biggest USPs in your business, and that's you and every single person in your business.
It's a good tip.
Video as well is another one that I'd say. So one of this stat is actually in our marketing newsletter. So I've published our newsletter today. If you want to go and have a look at it, it's 2025 predictions, and it'll talk you through every single social media platform and the changes that we're expecting to come in. But one of the key things that I think is important is 82% of our web traffic is now coming from video content.
Wow. That's enormous.
So if we're not creating video content, we're missing out on so many opportunities to drive people back to our websites, to see more information, to see the roles that we've actually got on, the companies that we're working with, in order to get in touch.
Yeah, that's enormous, isn't it? So video is really, really useful. I mean, we're doing videos now, you know, so we're doing this, it's live. We can then chop it up and we can, you know, pop it onto various different platforms in various different guises. But if you don't have a show, what kind of video as a business and an individual could you be doing?
So you want a mix. You don't want everything to be exactly the same. And there is apps out there that can make it a lot easier for you. One of the really good ones is called CapCut. There is a free version of it, and for a paid version, it's like £10 a month. But you can auto caption it, you can edit it, you can put music in background, you can put your logos on it, brand it up. It's then you can then export it and utilize it across all your social media channels, not just LinkedIn.
Yeah. So that's CapCut, is it?
CapCut. Yeah, in terms of the videos that you want to be showing, you want to be sharing a 360. So you want some testimonials from your clients or people that you've placed where they're actually on video talking about working with you. You want some videos where you're giving industry tips and knowledge. You want to be talking about recent conversations that you've had with clients, because if one of your clients is asking that question, there may be others in your network that are actually wanting to ask that question too. They've just not got to know whether they're there yet. Yeah. So you preemptive strike and answering questions before they've even come to you. So you showcasing knowledge. You also want to be showcasing what it's like in the team. So a regular conversation I have with people is, I'm really struggling to attract people to work with me internally in my business. And that's because they're not showcasing anything about the business, what the team's like, the team dynamics. If you have fun in the office, share it. If you get do Fat Fridays and have sandwiches all together as a team on a Friday, share it. If you've got a little wheel that someone can win something from by doing something, share that. If there's someone that does practical jokes, share that. If anything that actually matters to the team personally, so they're doing something like any charity work, share that.
Yeah. I think James is having a technical issue, but it's fine. I'm sure he'll be back in a second. I'm really interested. So you say 2025 predictions. If people want to get hold of that newsletter, they can contact you. I know we'll pop your details back up on the banner in a second. Can you give us another couple of predictions, things that you think we need to be looking out for in 2025?
So it is all about that personality piece and interactive content. So at the moment, LinkedIn have already launched this, but it's one of those things, like everything with LinkedIn, that it's slowly drip fed out to everyone. And that's automated banners. So now they're making changes to the banner section where you can have different images that it'll slide through.
Okay.
To make that element of your profile a little bit more interactive. I've always said, if anyone's followed me, that your LinkedIn profile is prime advertising space. Your banner is the first thing that people will see.
Yeah.
Now we're given an opportunity to give more people more information through that banner. So when you get that, then you should utilize it. I will also point out as well, that isn't for every single person on LinkedIn. They're only giving that to any form of premium member. So if you've got a premium account, a sales nav account, a recruiter license, then you will be able to have this interactive banner. If you're on just a standard LinkedIn account, it's not something that's going to be available to you. At this moment in time, that may change.
Okay, so that's another 2025 launch then for LinkedIn.
If I'm completely honest, though, I don't think they will change that, because I don't know if anyone's noticed, but with the company pages, you've now got paid versions of company pages and standard company pages. Now, we've trialed the paid on our own and a few of our clients, and so far we've not actually seen any benefit. Shockingly, we actually saw the impressions and interactions decrease in the first. So you do need to be able to do more with that, especially with it being, I can't remember exactly, but it's something stupid like £70 a month.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot for the limited amount of stuff that you can actually do with it.
Yeah.
But it does prove and show that they are pushing that paid subscription element of LinkedIn a little bit more. So I think we're going to see more of that gatekeeping of stuff on paid accounts versus standard LinkedIn accounts more and more over 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. So anything else changing on LinkedIn in 2025 that we need to be aware of?
Nothing's been published on in terms of it's changing at the moment, other than the banners element, and obviously the video changes that have already been put in place. The predictions are just more AI content. In order to stand out, it is more about that personality piece, having that interactive content where it's video form. And just remember, because quite a lot of people do forget this when it comes to like creating content in terms of any form, whether that be blog, newsletters, video content, or anything, it's asking questions. So people put posts out on LinkedIn and go, why is it not going anywhere? But they've just put a statement out, or they've just gone, look at my knowledge. And in order to open it up to their network, you need to be asking people questions. So you need to be adding at some point in that post, what are your thoughts on this? How do you deal with this? And opening it up so they have something to engage with.
Yeah.
I've lied to you. There is another one that we're expecting to see more of as well, and it's that long form content. So the more long story pieces, we're expected to see news articles, blogs, longer form content like that take off more this year. The stories element I get. In terms of your newsletters and your blogs, it'd be interesting to see it.
Well, I think what we find, Joe and I, we train a lot of recruiters, and also on the consultative side, and all these elements that you're talking about, Jim, are consultative. But on a training aspect, I think a lot of people are going to need some support in delivering this, because they quite often don't have the time to do this. And if you visit one of our websites, which is called retainedrecruiteracademy.com, there's links, Jem, to some of your training programs and sessions that people can book in with, as well as further sessions with Joe that we can put up there. So the links up showing up on the screen. But I think a lot of people are going to need more support next year, because these changes, they're busy trying to run their business, and then there's all these other things that are coming in. And Joe, we're going to talk about how do we help people become a little bit more active when they don't have time. And one of the little expressions we sometimes adopt in our business is do what you do best and outsource the rest. And Jem, I think you can help a lot more people.
I could, and there's also little tiny bits that I can give them that can help themselves as well. So like, a lot of people will spend a lot of time just engaging with things in their news feeds, but just doing the engagement in the news feeds and thinking I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing, and you're not being strategic enough. So you need to be utilizing things like Sales Nav. and actually creating lead lists and tracking when these people are posting. And you can make it easy for yourself to do that by logging onto these people's profiles, hitting that little notification bell in the corner, so that every time they post, you get a notification. So it's making it more streamlined and easier for you to manage yourself as well. There is bits that people are naturally uncomfortable with. And to be fair, I'm exactly the same. I'm no different to anyone else in terms of I hate writing about me. So like when we do the little about the sections and the bios and things for lives like this, Sarah has to write it. And when I read it, it gives me the ick.
Yeah.
So I get that most of us do struggle to write as ourselves, but that's something that over the last 5 years we really excel at, is getting your tone right. So if that's an element that we can also, that you think you struggle with, we can help with that too. So it's not just all of that.
I think we're starting to see an over-reliance on. I think you spoke obviously earlier. The stat you mentioned: 70% of marketers and recruiters in this version of what we're talking about today are using AI. But I think there's an over-dependence. I think they're forgetting some of the little things you're saying, which is, and it's not just it's American. For the non-American listeners, it's it's written with a Z. It's not about that. But you do have to sort of I think people just churn it out without looking at it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna slightly swear now, but I swear to God, I am so excited about this break away at Christmas, because if I see Trailblazers or fucking Secret Sauce one more time on a post, I may scream. And this is the bit that people don't realize. There is key words that people will point out on in AI. If you're not using it effectively, there is ways where you can absolutely train it to sound more like you, but it's only as good as what you put in. And if you only give it a little bit of information on you, it's then going to spit out something that it's spat out for 20, 30 other people. There's going to be very little differentiation in it. And that's why we're seeing so much samey content on LinkedIn, because loads of people are using AI. So the same terminology is used over and over, and everything's bullet pointed. Bullet points, breaking your content up, great idea, but not everything, guys.
Yeah. So I have a question. At the moment, I'm sure everybody who is listening is probably in the same boat, but my inbox in LinkedIn is on fire, and not in a good way. I am being littered by messages, and I'm not reading any of them. I mean, I could literally show you loads on there now, and I'm looking at the first line, and I'm not reading any of them, and it's bogging my inbox up. So my question is, we still want to reach out to people, and messaging is still a great way to try and start a conversation. What are people doing that's making me not want to read these messages? Because surely we're just getting stuck in the white noise, aren't we now?
So you tend to find the only ones that I've ever got a response for around this time, if you try and talk to anybody about anything that's remotely related to Christmas, to work, they're going to go, from that. I mentally checked out at the beginning of December. I've just been playing, let's just get what I need to get done, and everything else can get until January. I'm not saying everyone, the majority of people are like that, just because we all work so freaking hard. So I think the majority of us are a little bit burnt out by December. And it's why we're slightly more checked out. The things that do tend to get responded to is just the pleasant stuff. So actually saying, do you know what? I thought I'd drop you a message saying, I hope you have a really good Christmas if I don't speak to you beforehand. And if you've not got time to do that, and you don't want to jump into people's inboxes this time of year, then drop everybody a message in New Year saying, Happy New Year. So I did the exact same thing myself last year. I couldn't be asked last year. I was mentally checked out. I sent them to like the close people that I've built long-term friendships with over the years, but everybody else I was just like, I can't do it because I can't be bothered with the responses. So I get that if you're not mentally in that frame of mind where you can actually do it this side of Christmas, but you've still got that opportunity in the new year where you can just drop into people's inboxes. I did the same thing last year and ended up with 10 leads off the back of sending 200 messages. And all that message said was, Happy New Year. I hope 2024 is the best year yet. That's it. There was nothing about what I do.
Prospecting, no
selling in any way, shape or form. You also find as well, when you're actually sending messages out to people, instead of talking to them about an opportunity that you've got or this candidate that's really great that you really need to speak to, talk to them about what's happening in market for them right now.
Mm.
Mention a trend that you've seen and say, we've noticed this, are you seeing the same? I'm just trying to make sure that I'm on top of my game and I know everything that's going on in my industry. These blogs and newsletters that we're going to see an increase in the way I see them being increased and the way I see it working is effectively what I tell my clients to do with them. Is that type of content is only going to appeal to a smaller portion, so it's not going to get as much traction as the other posts in terms of impressions. But what it is going to get is the right views, because the only people that are going to be interested in reading them are people that are interested in your services.
Yeah.
There's nothing actually stopping you from sending messages to your prospects just saying, I've recently created this, I thought you might find it useful.
Yeah.
There's no pitch, there's no sale, there's just here's some value.
Yeah, absolutely. Gifting, gifting, reciprocation, starting conversations with people, being interested as well as interesting. It's all common sense stuff, isn't it? It's all just being a human being trying to connect with another human being. And I think that gets lost in LinkedIn.
It does massively. And I think it does in terms of like recruitment and sales in general. We all expect it to be a lot harder than it is, but it is just a person getting to know another person. And that's the key part of it.
Yeah.
We know that old expression about common sense. It's not very common. And that's why people need people like us. We're here to share and help people. So please do reach out to us from that side of things. Now, Joe, as ever, you've actually sort of given some really valid information to help people through there. Some great stats, and I do recommend people go and get a copy of your predictions for 2025, your newsletter, which is out today. So we'll hopefully post that. We'll post a link to that on our page as well, so people can sort of get access to that. And as I say, I think they should reach out to you. But some great stats, some great information that we've shared. Joe, any key points that Jen brought up that were fascinating to you?
I think the video thing, I think that's going to be massive. I didn't realize how massive that was going to be. I think people just need to maybe get out of the comfort zones and think about starting to do some video. Everyone was doing videos in COVID, videos from their bedrooms, videos walking around in parks. And I think that's been lost a little bit, but I really liked all that.
The thing is, as well, it's only hard in the beginning. It's the starting part that's the hard bit. Once you've done those first few, which I'm sorry to tell you this, guys, are going to be shit, but that's okay, because everybody's a crap in the beginning.
Yeah.
And everyone,
but if you don't start, they'll
But you've also got to think when you're going, oh my God, I think I've just posted that. There's people in your network going, oh my God, I wish I could post that. I wish I had their confidence.
Exactly. It does take a degree of confidence, and video is a great one there for us to take on. We just got one question. What is the link to get the tips? We will get that link posted into the group section if you can find it, Tina, if you're in the background. But we will definitely post it this afternoon in that link. And James, thanks for your question. We'll sort of make sure that one's covered off. But yeah, video, I think AI, but personalization. I think that's the big thing I put on, and I think that's where people do need some of that support. So Gemma, one last thing for 2025 for anybody listening. One thing, give you a summary point. What's the biggest thing? Is it video or anything else you want to say?
It's that personality piece. So you can, even if you only do written stuff and you can't do the video, adding that personality will make a massive difference. Adding it into your messages and your outreach, also just as important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So although I would encourage everyone to do video, and if you're not comfortable, identify a couple of people in your team that are comfortable and get them to do it for everyone.
Yeah, indeed. Well, listen, we've had a really good year, Joe, of actually sharing lots of information. I hope the people who've listened in throughout the year have enjoyed the conversations we've had with some great guests. No greater than you, Jem. That side of things. So thank you very much for coming and joining us, because she coughs all over the end of it. But we've really enjoyed having you with us as well. No problem. Yeah, absolutely. So listen, from all of us at the Retained Recruiter Show, iIntro, and from Jem at Social Gems, I just want to say thank you for listening. We look forward to catching up with you in 2025 for what hopes to be a bumper year for all of us in the recruitment sector. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from me, Joe.
Yeah, same. I'm looking forward to loads of shows in 2025. I think it's going to be a really great year. We're going to have Jem back, of course. Jem is an absolute regular. Katie, I'm so sorry we've run out of time for your question. Jem, I'm sure Jem will probably find it in the comments afterwards.
Well, I'll go and have a look in comments and come back to you.
In videos. But yeah, Jem, as always, I'm super grateful for you coming on to see us. If I don't see any of you again, those listening, thanks so much for a great year, and have a great Christmas. Have a great break. Let's all have a great
Indeed. And I've got a dog barking.
The dog agrees. The dog agrees.
The dog did agree on that particular piece, yeah. There we go. So listen, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Bye, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Bye.